piece of gum paste into a teardrop shape. Gently tap it on your surface to flatten the bottom. Now find a tool that can cut a circle just smaller than the bottom of your teardrop. I'm using the base of a Wilton 1A frosting tip to cut my circle and now attaching it with water. Next, you'll want to be able to create another circle just smaller than the one you did before. I'm using a Wilton size 12 frosting tip for mine. Use water to attach this circle as well. Find one more cutter to cut a circle even smaller than the first two. I'm using the tip end of my Wilton size 1A frosting tip for this circle. Grab a piece of paper and a pencil and sketch out a simple template for your wings. My wings ended up being about 5 inches from one side to the other, with a 1/2 inch V cut out of the center.
Use a scalpel to cut clean lines.
Now I'm using my favorite tool, a sugar shaper, to clean up the lines and corners on my wings.
Put your wings on a foam pad to dry.
Make sure you cut 2 sets of wings. Next, cut 2 strips of a different color that are about 1/4 inch in width. They just need to be long enough to wrap all the way around your wings.
The best tool for this is a quilting ruler. Attach the strips with a little bit of water.
Use a straight edge like a knife or a ruler to straighten out your stripes. Do the same thing on the other side of your wing. Now cut 2 squares that are 1 inch by 1 inch. These are going to be your tail wings. You could make yourself a simple template for your tail wings, but I decided to just eyeball mine because it seemed faster. They really don't have to be perfect. I'm using my sugar shapers again to soften up those corners and round them off just a bit. These are really the best tools to get some clean details on your cakes. I'm pretty much going to do the rudder in the exact same way. Again, you could cut a template for this, but I decided to eyeball this as well. You can always trim it down later if it's not perfect. You'll definitely want to make sure you give all these little pieces some time to dry and set up a little bit. Next, you'll want to test out various size circle cutters to find one that will create the right size for wheels. I was able to use my Wilton size 12 frosting tip base again for this. I'm using the base side of the tip to cut the wheel and the tip side of the tip to emboss a circle. Now I'm just sizing down my gum paste a bit so that I can hand cut my propeller. Again, if you don't feel comfortable just cutting into your gum paste, you could always find a template online or even draw your own. If you want to give a little added detail, you can use some small strips of paper towel to prop up the sides of your propeller and give it a little bit of twist. For the next part, gather 8 toothpicks and something to cut them with. Now I'm measuring them against the body of my plane to check and make sure they are about the same height. Now cut all 8 toothpicks to the same size. I found it helpful to cut off both pointy ends so that they don't poke through the gum paste wings when we attach them. Next, I'm using an edible pen to color the toothpicks black. Use piping gel to insert the toothpicks into your wings. You might want to place the body of your airplane into the middle of the wings to check for spacing. Next, heat up a small amount of candy melts to act as glue so we can put together the plane. Using a sharp knife, cut a slit in the end of the plane to insert the tail wings. At this point, you can trim down your rudder as much as you need for a perfect fit. Make a tiny ball of gum paste to attach to the nose of the plane. This will allow the propeller to stick out away from the body of the plane. Finally, roll out one more tiny ball to attach to the propeller. This just gives a cute little added detail to the nose of the plane. The last thing I decided to do was cut out a small amount of gum paste to attach to the top center of my plane. The reason I did this was so that my wings did not sag in the middle. You may or may not need to do this depending on how long you cut your toothpicks. Now I'm using my candy melts to glue everything together. Thanks so much for watching. All the tools used in this video are my must-have tools that I use on a regular basis. I will post links to them on my blog.